Thank you for having me. I am the technical coordinator at Best in Glasgow. I've been in this role for now 6 months, so I'm relatively new. And I'm conscious of time, so I'll keep this relatively short and sweet. Stephen's been through these slides relatively well, so I'll skip through these. I'll shortly speak about the skills for Scotland retrofit and what we do at Best, and the low carbon learning that we have in our factory. So we have the retrofit programs, and our goal is to help the built environment achieve a net zero. And we champion best practice for retrofit. We support Scotland in achieving zero carbon built environment through the National Centre of Excellence for Deep Retrofit in Scotland, enable the industry to provide retrofit training and skills for the national scale, support academia and the wider industry in the research and development of retrofit solutions at scale. So we worked with the universities and helping them with the mobile rigs and passive house testing and trying to implement that in the academic sides. Skills for retrofit. The existing housing accounts for 14% of Scotland's greenhouse gas emissions. And after visiting Retrofit Reimagined in Birmingham, I've realised the huge crisis we have in the housing stock in the UK. And to meet those 2040 targets in Scotland, we're required to retrofit 113,000 homes per year. And the approach we have is the standards we're following right now is the Letty Guide, the NFIT standards, and the AECB retrofit standards, and the PAS 2035. Those are the guidelines we're following at best practice. And the low carbon learning, it's funded through the National Transition Training Fund and is supported by the Scottish Funding Council and Skills Development Scotland. This programme covers 3 streams: passive house, retrofit, fabric and structure. So the fabric and structure and fabrics-based carbon accounting, mass timber, sustainable insulation. And the low carbon learning, what we're doing at the factory so far is we have a series of events and webinars that we host, the carbon light contractor training, retrofit training, passive house outside, retrofit coordinator training we host. And what we do most at the factory is the mobile passive house training rigs for educators and contractors that come along, and we host contractors to train with alongside the whole team. So the designers will come along with the tradies, and they'll have their conflict in that small space and talking about how to get these passive house standards and how to follow the sequences and the importance of sequencing. And it all starts in the design phase and not just in the end phase. You have to particularly take interest in the design phase and how to fit those air tightness membranes, sequence it along and follow those guidelines. And yet they all collaborate, and we get those good collaboration amongst those. And even spending the past 2 days in Shetland and seeing the great work that you guys are doing has been great to see, and especially meeting Kevin from Heatwise, seeing how he has all this wealth of experience and knowledge, and he can just walk through a building and sense what is needed to insulate a roof and what type of insulation is needed just through the power of his nose, smelling that, which is great to see that you guys have here, and you should cherish that. And I think that's what we need more of down in the mainland for us as well. And I'll finally explain what we have achieved recently. Is we've trained individually 355 people, 158 individuals accredited in passive house standards, 1,860 individuals trained online in retrofit and NFIT standards. We have had 67 businesses engaged in programme, 204 jobs safeguarded and created, 70 educators engaged in passive house training, and then finally a 12.6% increase in knowledge and the importance of carbon construction standards for passive house and retrofit. And that is me from you guys. So thank you.